never bothered me anyway. A console versus a gaming PC in 2022. Better yet, a next-gen console versus a gaming PC right now.
Oh good, another one of these. I'm sure you have lots of really intelligent things to say.
Are you automatically at a disadvantage because of console? Is it really worth it to buy a whole gaming computer in 2022?
Good golly, mister, a whole gaming computer? What if I only want half a gaming computer?
When these next-gen consoles just go up to 120 plus frames anyway?
The new consoles do not go to 120 plus frames. Literally 16 seconds into your video and you've shown your hand. Nice.
No fooling around, let's get right into it.
No fooling around after you literally just lied to the audience.
Thank you guys for watching the video today. If you feel like watching me while I'm live, check out my other content, link in the bio.
Oh my god, you're a TTV. You're a TTV in fucking multiverses. Oh my fucking god, hang it up. It's over.
First thing I want to say is I'm 28 years old. I grew up on the Nintendos, Xboxes, PS2s, 3s, 4s, whatever the heck we're on now.
If only there was some way to find out.
So I feel like I've played around on all the consoles, and I've purchased a gaming computer when I got a little bit older. So I kind of have a good feel about where things are now, as well as I also kind of understand the computer aspect of it. Meaning like the FPS, input delay, things like that.
Because FPS and input delay are issues exclusive to the PC somehow. Look, I grew up on consoles too. I'm a few years younger than you, but this is a really weird way to start the video. You don't have to be some kind of fabled expert in order to understand these things, because they really aren't that hard to understand in the first place. The PC is the best place to play games by any objective measure. The most games, the most future-proofing, the best performance, the most backwards compatibility, the best game pricing, the most services available to you. It doesn't take a fucking rocket surgeon to understand this. A simple afternoon with Google will do the trick. The only reason people bring up their history with an uncomplicated topic is to make themselves sound smarter than they actually are. And given the nonsense that you've already managed to vomit out in this video, I'm absolutely clenched for what's coming next.
So, if you didn't know, the highest frame rate before these next-gen consoles were only 60 FPS, and on a computer you could go up to 240, really 360 plus, way better than the old-gen consoles.
Why are those the numbers you chose? Like, there's no exact frame limits on the PC. It can literally go as high as you want, or as high as your hardware will allow you to go. Why did you just go with a few intervals of 60? It couldn't possibly be because you have no actual idea how this works.
But now, it's a lot different because a lot of these next-gen consoles and a lot of these games go up to 120 FPS, and a lot of these PC players that I know can't even maintain 120 FPS in the game that they're playing.
First of all, when you say a lot of these consoles, what you mean is two of these consoles. The PS5 and the Series X. Well, I guess also the Series S, but even then, that's three. A whopping 3 consoles on the market that can sometimes let you play at 120 FPS and no higher. Meanwhile, pretty much every PC built in the last decade can hit 120 FPS or higher. Obviously, the exact situations will vary, but I built my first gaming PC in 2017 and I was cranking frames at 1080p. So I can only imagine the numbers people were doing before me, and I can tell you for absolute certain that you can go way higher than that with a modern PC. Again, exact FPS rates vary depending on the game and your hardware, but as a general rule of thumb, the PC is more than capable of what you're describing on virtually every game. It's frankly not impressive that Microsoft and Sony are sometimes allowing you permission to do this thing that PC gamers have been doing for about a decade now. But as for the other thing you said about how some PC gamers you know can't do 120 FPS or whatever, that's rather bold when the consoles just now got into triple-digit FPS. And again, it's not even a universal feature.
We'll get into a little bit more detail about that later, but first, let's go ahead and talk about the PC players now. Yes, there's absolutely still an advantage if you're on PC all day and night, as long as you have a large amount of money to spend on it.
Yeah, no. You can have a low-tier PC and still have all the advantages. The only difference is you won't have as good of graphics or as high of frames as some other people with more expensive machines. Every PC has access to every PC game, every PC storefront, and all the benefits that those things have to offer. Are you really about to suggest that the console is somehow not money-driven? The console has more expensive games, more expensive peripherals, a complete lack of hardware upgrades, garbage future-proofing, so just stop with this whole, no, a PC is an expensive platform shit. Alex said it best. Console gaming nickel and dimes you at every possible term, and the price to entry is higher than ever now.
And I mean at least $1,000-ish.
You don't need $1,000 to make a decent gaming PC. Buy your parts used. Buy them local from places like Craigslist or OfferUp. Also, how much are modern consoles and games running you nowadays? Like, you're going to hit $1,000 really fast on the console, and you don't even get a fraction of the benefits that the PC has to offer.
At the end of the day, if you have a lot of money, you can't really do anything more with your console in order to make it better, but you can always upgrade a PC and always do things to make it better, faster, more responsive, a lot of things like that.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. It was just really frustrating getting here. The video's not even halfway over.
Plus, there's a lot of extra settings you can turn off in-game, and a lot of things I'll go over here in just a moment.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Console games still barely have graphical settings. Like, at all. Yet another aspect of PC gaming that console games just haven't caught up to.
But what's the catch? You need a lot of money.
No more than you would need to play on a modern console. In fact, it's less money in the long run because you're not paying $70 a pop for games and $50 every single year to play online, and then another 500 to 600 smackaroos in a few years when the quote upgraded console comes out.
In my opinion, if you don't have at least around $800 to $1,000 to spend on a computer build, including the monitor, keyboard, whatever you're using, you might as well stick with these next-gen consoles around $400 to $500. Way better deal.
Yes, because a next-gen console and gaming monitor is going to cost you $400 to $500. You fucking dunce.
That being said, if you really want to experience these next-gen consoles for what they're supposed to be, you have to get a monitor that can run 120 FPS or more, or you might as well just be playing on a TV in an old-gen console, because that's all it is without the monitor to go along with the new-gen console.
So let's review here. You said PC requires $800 because you included the monitor, but console is a better deal because that costs $400 to $500, but you didn't include the monitor there, and you didn't mention the cost of games or subscription services. This is really stupid.
The biggest thing is the refresh rate of the display itself. That means you can get a nice piece of hardware like a PS5 or the brand new Xbox or a really nice gaming computer, but if you plug it into a display that doesn't have a fast refresh rate to keep up with that new hardware, you might as well just be playing on the old gen, because the old gen didn't even matter anyway what you were playing on.
You can tell he just got a PC for his birthday and now he thinks he's a total expert. Like, you're way too proud of yourself for knowing the most basic things about this platform.
Because most displays only refresh at 60, but these monitors refresh at about 120 or up to 360 plus, and some that are coming out are even faster now, which is crazy. Okay, awesome. So you bought a nice display, and you also have one of those next-gen consoles.
Wait, were you just implying that you should get one of those 360 hertz monitors for a console? Like, did I hear that right? Why would you do that? The console's cap at 120. Why would you get a 360 hertz monitor?
At that point, is your setup just as good as having a gaming computer? Well, not really. The biggest thing that matters is what game you're playing first off.
Friendly reminder that you can only play at 120 FPS on console if one of the overlords allow it to be so. Meanwhile, almost every PC game can get up to 120 or higher if you have decent enough specs and know how to work the settings, which is not hard.
And that kind of brings me back to my point a little bit earlier about how much money you have to spend on your gaming PC. If you're playing a higher end game like Call of Duty Warzone and you're turning up the graphics, if you didn't spend enough money on your computer, it won't be able to maintain over 100 FPS in a game that's kind of high end like that you have to run. And on the next gen consoles, you're able to maintain a much more steady frame rate, because that's what the developers make the console for, is smoothness.
There's a lot wrong with this. First of all, Call of Duty is not a quote high end game. It just runs like garbage. But it also runs way better on PC than console overall, so I'm not sure where you're getting this from. Yes, it takes a pretty high tier PC to crank consistent frames in a game like Warzone, but again, the game just runs like shit. And the console version kneecaps the visuals in order to keep that frame rate consistent. And on top of that, you don't have many substantial graphic settings on console. So, is it really worth it?
And they're not going to have it jumping down and up and just boosting for performance. But once again, it matters what game you're playing. In some games, the game engine only runs at a certain FPS or output anyway, like Multiverses. If you played that, no matter what, it's at 60 FPS. If you play on the console, next gen, you can't make it go anymore, so it really doesn't matter what you play on at that game at all.
I literally just Googled this and you're wrong. I don't know anything about Multiverses, but the PC version apparently has a workaround for higher frame rates. So, no.
Everyone is on the same playing field when it comes to something like that.
Creating an even technical playing field is not worth the amount of market abuse you put up with on a console.
But let's keep on going back and forth here. The biggest thing about PC on other games is the in-depth of settings you can turn off.
The in-depth of settings you can turn off. What?
For instance, specific types of shadows, anti-aliasing, all kinds of things that you wouldn't want in a game anyway, like motion blur as well. And on console, they just don't give you those options because they're trying to make it the most smooth experience possible, and a lot of people don't understand those settings anyway who play console.
Well, that's not condescending at all. Yeah, we can't give people graphic settings, they're too dumb to understand it. Yeah, no, great reasoning. Fantastic reasoning. You're doing terrific. But have you ever considered why they have to put all these undesirable things in the game for the sake of making it as smooth as possible on that hardware? It's almost like the hardware isn't a good purchase.
The customizability is way better on PC, no matter how much money you spend. So I think the next question should be, what kind of system do you have? And it matters if you say PS4, PS5, or gaming computer. They're three different things. It's not just console versus PC. A lot of these console players are just as good, if not better, than a lot of these PC players, and the skill level just doesn't matter.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
The gap is closing smaller and smaller and smaller with every generation of console that releases. Even though the PC side is innovating a lot, it doesn't matter unless you can spend about $1,000 or more, which you might have.
No. The skill gap between console and PC isn't closing just because console is getting better graphics. That's ridiculous. The skill gap closes the more that the console catches up to the PC's basic features, like faster response times, FOV adjustment, more supported input devices. You're correct that the console isn't holding back the skill of the player as much as it used to, but the fact that it ever could do that is the problem. It's a closed market, and it always will be. That is the inherent advantage of playing on PC, and that advantage will never go away.
Besides all the in-depth settings that PC allows and console doesn't, I really hope they improve upon that upon the next generation.
Well, why would they? You're gonna keep supporting their garbage products regardless, so why would they make anything easier for you?
So there's always pluses and minuses on every side. I'm not going to talk about all of them. No matter what you play on, you're probably better than me. Have a good rest of your day, guys.
Well, that was a train wreck. Hopefully you learned something from this, because this dude is not capable of educating anybody. Also, just play Melee like an adult, please. Like, I get Multiverses is all like, Tom and Jerry and Shaggy and fucking Finn and Adventure Time. Like, just grow up and play Melee like an adult. Toodles.